went to the top engineering schools, you went to the top law schools, and yet you knew also what it was like to be treated differently. And you didn't back down from that either.
No, I mean, it was very devastating to have to, try to justify yourself on the side of the highway to a state patrolman when you're just trying to come home from a funeral, which is what happened to us in May of 1992. We were driving back to Washington from Chicago for my grandfather's funeral when we were stopped by a Maryland state trooper.
It was you and your family.
Yeah, it was me and my first cousin, my uncle and his wife, and he said we were speeding, but instead of just giving my cousin a ticket, he wanted to search the car, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. And it didn't matter that I told him that I was a public defender, and I told him the name and date of this U.S. Supreme Court case that said that he couldn't search our car and detain us. He said this is routine and we do it all the time, and that, they have a problem with rental cars and drugs, and even though driving a rental car doesn't give any officer, the right to search the car for drugs, that was his explanation. And we were standing there on the side of the road while a German Shepherd jumped all over our car and sniffed it in the rain, and people drove past us, and we looked like, I guess, criminal suspects.
People driving past, looking, thinking, oh, what have they done?
Yes, and I remember, very vividly this car driving by with the prototypical American family of four, and the two kids in the back seats had their faces smushed against the window looking at us, and they saw German Shepherds and police lights and us standing there.
A black family.
A black family, and I'm sure they thought, criminals, bad guys. And I'm thinking to myself, this is terrible. I went to Harvard Law School for this, but at that point, that degree meant nothing. All that really mattered was the color of my skin. And we learned that because after we sued the Maryland State Police, we actually got a document in the discovery process where they said that they were targeting African Americans in rental cars on that very stretch of the highway because they were the drug dealers. And they really couldn't defend that document in court, so they settled.
Your personal story, having experienced that, knowing what it was like even in 1992 or even today to be treated differently because of the color of your skin. As you did the research for the museum, did that make this seem even more urgent for you?
That event and really my experience as a public defender really propelled me to get involved with this. It was to some degree a diversion from all of that because I got very involved in the whole discussion about driving while black and racial profiling and, my job as a public defender. It was all great work that I felt very good about, but I wanted to be a part of something positive and to be a part of creating an institution that would help the country perhaps get past some of that or learn from some of those experiences and some of that history to help us create something that would help us to have the conversation on race that we keep talking about, or to help us learn how we can come together and move past some of the past bigotry and discrimination and suspicion. And so it was a way for me to feel like, maybe I could be part of the change or part of the cure.